So much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. Law number 5 of the 48 Laws of Power. To recap before I get into the story. The first one, never outshine the master. The second one, learn how to use enemies, never put too much trust in friends. The third one, conceal your intentions. The fourth one, always say less than necessary. Number 5, so much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. I went on a walk today. As you know, I'm doing my diet right now. We'll be done in a few short weeks. And so don't get used to this 183 pound version of myself. I'm gonna bulk back up. The most I've ever been lean is 220 pounds. The most I've ever been fat, when I didn't understand that during your off season, during your bulk, the priority of protein is imperative, is dire. So that I got just super fat when I did a dirty bulk when I was during my 5th year. Year 4 to 5 bodybuilding transformation journey quest. And I got to 237 pounds, but just super fat, like purple stretch marks, like man boobs, the like. So the goal this time is going to be a 225 or north, but enough of that. But it's just a preface of why I was going on a walk today during my break from work. And it's nice to get out of the cubicle, get out of the desk, so you don't want to end things living the rat life, huh? So I went on a walk, and my M&O department, they were loading a big ViewSonic mount, so one of those big TVs where teachers will cast during their classroom onto this big screen. And I walked by 1, 2, 3, 4 guys, and I said, "Morning, boys," and none of them were aware that I was walking by prior. When I said that, "Good morning, boys," gave them a salute. All 4 of them stopped what they were doing, turned around, looked at me, said morning. Some of them mispronounced my name slightly. They called me Tarek. Said Tarek, but the other one's Tarek. Morning, Tarek. They all stopped what they were doing, saluted. Just so much respect. And when I kept walking and like nodding my head, and went on with my walk, I just thought of this law and what I was going to do today, of the idea of respect and my name, where I work, who I am, being aligned with my character and my integrity. So it starts with your actions and the consistency of them. As in, I'm the kind of person that looks you in the eye and gives you a firm handshake. I'm the kind of person that when I say I'm gonna fucking do something, I do it, it's a given. When I get a project, when I get a task, when it's given to me, it's as if it's already done, because I'll take care of it. And if you've ever seen the show Suits, where he talks about first impressions matter. He said, this is Harvey Specter, if you start behind the 8 ball, you'll never catch up. He said, when I started working here at the law firm, people thought I worked 100-hour weeks because I was already in the office when they got in, and then I would stay when they would leave. So they thought I never left. And he said, now, this is many years later when he's partner of the firm, no one questions my ability to get the job done, so I can come and go as I please. That's the importance of reputation. I did the exact same thing when I worked my present role at this school that I'm currently working at. As in, I didn't work 8-hour shifts when I started. I worked between 10 and 11 hours to force the fastest assimilation and to have that reputation built in. And then the great part about it is once that is locked in, then you get so little micromanagement, so little, that's the big one, is micromanagement, and you don't need anyone to coddle you, to hold your hand. You develop a high level of trust within all your stakeholders, anyone who has a stake within the school district, whether that's another staff member, teacher, parent, you name it. So it's interesting because when I was younger, I worked in maintenance and operations when I was an undergrad at UCLA. So that's all the behind the scenes things that goes into any event, as in all the warehouse deliveries, all the heavy lifting, all of the, did I say warehouse items? Yeah. All the boxes, all the cleaning, all the fucking grease traps, like all the shit that's needed to do the operations and maintenance and facility work of any event, whether that was a basketball game, a soccer game, a softball game, all of the sporting events at UCLA. I was the behind the scenes guy, getting all that shit done. So you fast forward today where I'm no longer in maintenance and operations, but I'm in administration. I know the lives that they're living in the sense of the unsung heroes, the ones who get the least amount of credit, who do the actual work within the organization, all the heavy lifting, all the fucking manual labor, all of the actual sweat equity. And whenever I'm given an opportunity to help, I prove to them within my actions that there's no fucking title in the workplace that makes me above you in any way. I'll give you several examples. I was doing my walk, this was a couple months ago, and they were taking out trash. And so I met up with them, and then I helped them literally dig into the fucking bin, and then they were moving trash from the one that we collect within the office to the bigger dumpster. And so I was just joining the party. Number one, it's like the best leaders are the ones who they wouldn't ask you to do anything that they themselves wouldn't do. And so that sets the precedent that no, I'm not above this fucking task. Another example, we had to put a bunch of textbooks on these pallets that were gonna get taken out. And it was so much fucking labor. And it should have just been the M&O team taking care of it, but I took it upon myself it's called servant leadership. As in, again, you don't ask anyone else to do something that you yourself aren't willing to do. So I wasn't dressed for the day. I wasn't wearing like casual clothes. I was wearing fucking suit and tie for this. And I sweated profusely through it, moving, because we had to weigh all of the textbooks, weigh all of the boxes, and then put them on the pallets. And then we did it wrong the first time, so we had to do it all again. And it was literally hundreds and hundreds and thousands of pounds in total of lifting. And they took note of that, this isn't someone who's just in the cubicle. This is someone who, he's one of, if not the strongest person within the office. And so he's not shy to doing actual fucking work because he doesn't view himself as better than other people because of a made up fucking title. When you go around with that etiquette, with that professionalism, with that character and integrity, you don't have to fucking say a word, and you will earn the respect of all of your peers, of your superiors, of they call them direct reports or subordinates, the people who report to you. That comes from consistency with who you are as a fucking man. And so I wanted to set the stage for this law of so much depends on reputation guarded with your life, because for me, who you are outside of that fucking building that you work in speaks volumes about who you are as a man. As in, when the camera's off, right? When you leave that door, nobody gives a fuck about your made up title. No one. It does not matter. What matters is who you are as a man. I saw a great video by Greg Plitt, who passed away in 2015, my second greatest inspiration and influence on my fitness journey. And he said, how many of you guys even pick up fucking trash off the floor when you see it, when no one's watching? He said the same person who does that today is the same person who has his hand raised on the podium later in life. He said one literally equates to the other. But people don't view those small victories as the literal means and building blocks to that big victory down the road where you have all the eyes on you. They don't view it as such. They view it as, I can fucking cut corners here, I can neglect here, I can half-ass here. Another example he uses, when you dust your countertops, do you dust around the picture frame or do you pick the fucking picture frame up and dust the whole thing? He says, do the job right or don't do it at all. When you're washing your car and you put all the hoses, the buckets, the soap, the water away, and you notice a spot is missing, what do? Do you pull all that shit back out and do the job fucking right, or do you say good enough? In one of our earlier books from this university, that was a homework assignment to remove those fucking words from your vocabulary. Good enough. Because, and what's funny is when you have that litmus test of when you're doing any fucking task and those words aren't applicable because you've removed them from your vocabulary, you won't ever half-ass a job. And what it'll do is it'll refine your character, it'll refine your integrity to the point where you are who you say you are, a man of character, of integrity, of consistency with his word and his actions. A person founded on merit, right? When you operate on that level of etiquette, on that level of professionalism, you don't have to say a fucking word. And like I said, you will earn and elicit the respect from all of those around you, because people don't follow titles. This is a quote from Braveheart. Men don't follow titles, they follow courage. And I can expand on that. Men don't follow, this is our work culture, right? They don't follow fucking words and fabrication and bullshit. They follow and emulate actions. So they see what time you get up in the morning. They see what time you leave the office. They see the amount of work that you put in when no one's watching. Do you understand? If you can do that every fucking day and go about your day as if someone is watching you, because somebody is, right? It could be your roommate. It could be your significant other. It could be your fucking kid. Someone is looking to you to lead, to be the standard, right? So when they see you half-ass it, when they see you give up, right? When they see you quit on rep 9, when they see you hit snooze on the fucking alarm, that's the precedent that you're setting for them. Do you understand? You could be that beacon of hope and inspiration for them, for a better life, for improvement, for a sense of striving for more from your standard. Do you understand? So when it comes to so much depends on your reputation guarded with your life, I think you have to ask yourself, who are the people that you want to mirror your etiquette, your professionalism, your character, your integrity? For me, I'm thinking of my woman to come. I'm thinking of my kids in the future. I'm thinking of when I go on my Instagram and I see who watches my story, I see I'm the one that they're looking to lead, because no one else is doing anything. No one's pursuing a great adventure in terms of a incredible business undertaking. But to that same effect, I feel like no one has been called to do what I've been called to do. And so I know that people, unspoken, no one's telling me this, it's just a thought that I have, is the ones who watch and the ones who are, constant viewers of my work, even when it's in the small scale, they're hoping that I fucking pull it off. Not simply for the benefit that it would add to their life, but because of the inspiration of hope. As in, so many people, particularly in today's world, have given up. They don't have a sense of inspiration, of confidence in the future, of hope for a fucking better tomorrow. And they're so entrenched in the rat life, whether that's in the physique that they're unhappy with, in the relationship or lack thereof that they're not satisfied with, that they don't have trust or respect or ecstasy or passion, right? Or they're single, or their financial status and income, and they're drowning in the debt from the indoctrination from the rat life, right? Be it a mortgage, be it their car that they have financed, be it their credit cards, be it their student loans. They have interest on all this shit, they have insurance on all this shit, and they're making the scraps. That's compounded and exacerbated by high cost of living, by higher inflation, and so that feeling of overwhelm and fucking defeat is paramount in the world that we live in today. And so I feel like with my actions, right, with my consistencies, with my disciplines, people are looking to me to fucking lead. And I said at the start of this university in January, I said, you need to be the fucking standard, period. I said that with grated fucking teeth. I said, you need to be the standard, because no one else is, right? No one else is going to hold you to that level. No one else is going to be able to earn and elicit the respect from your peers, the respect from others, by seeing what you're doing, by seeing a man that I'm willing to follow him, because I'm willing to follow courage. Somebody who has belief, conviction, the courage to pursue, right? So that's where I'm at right now, is it's hard enough for me to find the motivation to keep going, the motivation to be consistent when the numbers are so small. That's the hardest part. And that is a quote from Greg Plitt. The hardest part of any transformation is believing that one day you're going to look a certain way, be in a certain relationship, have a certain financial income, when there's no evidence around you today to suggest that that day is ever coming. That's the hardest part of a transformation, physical, relational, monetarily. is when there's no evidence around you to keep going and to enact the Winston Churchill quote, success is going from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm from one failure to the next. And so that in and of itself is enough of a challenge. Being true when the numbers are small, when these videos are getting views in the single or double digits, right? When there's no monetization, when you're working a job that's infuriating, that I even said it today. I said when I was going on one of my walks, it might have been a later one, I go into, they give you 2 breaks in the rat life. I was like, this job is fucking killing me on the inside, because I saw an Instagram post by Andrew Tate, and he said an animal who's in a zoo isn't happy. You know, he gets by, he's content, but his soul is fucking miserable. And that is the equivalent of someone who has been unplugged, has escaped the rat life, and then going back to working the 9 to 5, justifying your time for the scraps, for something that's made up, for something that's made up numbers on a screen, pieces of paper that they can print an infinite number of, and being surrounded by just fucking nerds and idiots and people who they have no idea what real pressure is, what real stress is. And I swear if you've ever played a video game and you play with what are called PvE players, that's the equivalent of working the rat life, working the 9 to 5, is the people who queue up for a raid, for a dungeon, if you've ever played like World of Warcraft, where the mechanics in the fights are the same programming, the same mechanic, the same instance. That's what they call them, a raid, where you're fighting the same boss who does the same move every single time, right? That requires the least degree of skill. And in the pursuit of that, you get these made up titles, right? That you're in WoW, you're a Kingslayer. You know, you're all of these that are just fucking cringy from people who have never stepped foot into the arena. And you can tie it into, in real life, the arena of life. As in people who don't know what perseverance is, don't know what work ethic is, don't know what giving it your all is, don't know when their fucking medal is on the line, METTLE. They don't know what it's like to be in the arena with real stress because they live in a fucking vacuum of monopoly money. As in school districts in particular, dude, they're grant funded. As in they get millions of dollars from the fucking government who just prints money out of thin air for them. And that's their stresses. It's just, it's all a game, it's all a joke. It's not real. And so somebody who has that cognizance, who has to harbor the greatest degree of humility in a place like that, who actually knows what true leadership is and embodies that, it is the greatest fucking challenge to have a bowed head in there and to be one of these fucking courtiers. Because I'm not one. I'm not a clown. I'm not a fucking jester. And that is the role of so many of these people. And you can see the misery, man. You can see when that facade, behind that facade, you can see the death in so many of these people's souls. Because while some of them get a sense of safety from the security of a paycheck, you can see the misery in not being able to be your true self. You can see the misery behind people who have played this stupid fucking character for years and years and years, where, and this is a thought that I have even in the rat life now, is it's been so long since I've been able to be myself. And I've told myself this so many times, and I'm so happy that I'm cognizant of it, but I always remind myself I fucking hate playing this character. And because that's exactly how it feels when I go into the workplace. You're playing a fucking character. Because if you dared to be yourself, as in someone who spoke the truth, someone who had the courage to speak the truth, then in that environment, you don't thrive. What they want is someone who's agreeable, someone who's docile, someone who's a yes man, someone who will just do as they're told, an obedient fucking sheep. And so having someone in that environment who thinks for themselves is quite disruptive, because people don't want the status quo challenged, right? They want you to just do as you're told, to be obedient, to not make too much noise, and to be a good fucking docile slave who is happy with the scraps and is able to make sense of that. As in, they don't want someone who views their rat life as literal breadcrumbs. They want someone who views it with such a level of gratitude that it's just as if their superiors were God sent. When in reality, the ones who are giving them the breadcrumbs, they know what they're giving to the others is a fucking joke, because it's reflective in their salaries, right? When they're making 2x or 3x what they're proposing to you, it's an inside joke to them. Do you know what I mean? So to bring it back, so much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. It extends so much beyond the laws of power in terms of using a reputation to get anything. It's a quote from Tristan Tate. He said, first you're paid for what you do, then you're paid for what you know, and then if you reach a high enough level, you're paid for who you are. I'm not talking about it in that regard of what can I get from the power of a reputation, right? And in it, he talks about, the great seducers of all time, like Casanova, and these people who, because they had this kind of reputation, these were the women that they were able to win, etc. I'm talking about, imagine the confidence that you would elicit when you were so consistent with your word. Because all confidence is a self-trust system. As in, this is my word, right? And this is me being consistent with what I just said. To the point where anytime you say something, there's no hesitation, there's no doubt in your word. That's how you build confidence, is I said this and I know I'm going to do it. Of course I'm going to do it because I said it. Such as me filming this today. I said, I'm going to film this today. Of course it's going to get done because I said so. There's no discussion and there's no room for hesitation of, I don't know if I can trust my word. That comes from being consistent with it. So a reputation is just a byproduct of your consistency with your word within your actions. So if you can do that, fuck a reputation with other people, though powerful, though the whole premise of this entire law, this entire chapter. But what if you prioritize building the best reputation with yourself? So you could look at yourself in the mirror with such pride, with such self-respect, self-love, self-admiration, to the point where you don't need that from other people, but the irony is you will elicit the greatest amount from other people by that action, by you keeping your fucking word, by you being a man of honor, of character, of merit, of integrity. Do you see? So I think I prefaced it well. Now we'll go on to the next. Now we can get into my notes. Here we go. Law number 5 of this noble quest of Rat Life University, the 48 Laws of Power. We're going to go through them one by one, because think about it. I said this before, anyone could fucking read all the laws and you won't even memorize them. You won't even absorb any of it. You won't reflect on it. You won't iterate how they apply into your own life, if you're applying them. What are they even? And as a result, you won't grow or benefit from it. Do you understand? But by breaking it down one by one, then these can become a part of your thoughts, and then a part of your habits, and then a part of your character, and then a part of your fucking destiny. Do you understand? Let patience have her perfect work. This university is predicated on humility. Do you understand? Doing it one thing at a time, doing the job fucking right, or not at all. So, to begin. Work to establish a reputation of outstanding quality, generosity, honesty, discipline, integrity. You will get others to talk about you through your work. There's a quote by Greg Plate. He said, when you work in here, referring to the gym, when you go out there, you don't have to say anything, do you? And his premise of that is, don't be one of these fucking monkeys who feel the need to shout in the gym, or someone who feels the need to flaunt their worth or their wealth or their physique or whatever the fuck. I would feel this way when I was younger, in the sense of needing to prove myself to other women, to sell them on my good qualities. And it's like, let me convince you that I'm worth your fucking time of day. That comes from a low level, a low self-image, a low self-love, a low self-respect. Because when you're inflated in terms of your self-respect, your self-image, your self-love, you don't fucking feel the need to do that to anyone. So it's a good benchmarker for an audit to, if you find yourself feeling the need to convince people of your self-worth, it's not very reflective of someone who's in a good place, someone who feels like they have a high self-worth. Because if you did, you wouldn't feel the need to sell or convince other people of it. As your self-love, self-respect, self-image go up, your need for validation, recognition, approval from others go down. They're directly in tandem. So that's a good food for thought, food for consideration. You will get others to talk about you through your work, dedication, perseverance, and character. It's so true. To the point where you're going on a walk, you say, "Good morning, boys." All four of them stop what they're doing to give you that respect. Simply from the consistency with your actions and your word. And you treating others with the highest level of respect. As in eye contact, by their name, firm handshake. And if you can do that consistently, you don't need to flaunt or throw around a fucking title. Because, men, like I said, men don't follow titles. Or women. They follow respect. They follow people who other people respect. And so if you can focus on that, on your character, on your disciplines, on your consistencies, you will get everything that you want from everyone that you want, men and women. So it's a good marker, food for thought. You will get others to talk about you through your work, dedication. In the 10X rule, he talks about adding wood to your fire. It's that exact same sentiment. Take so much action that people, so add so much wood to your fire that people stand around in admiration from what you're creating, from what you're building, from how consistent you are. Because they can say whatever they want, right? They can talk shit. They can be, there's a good quote by, I don't remember the actor's name. He said, "If you have a problem with me, call me." Christian Bale. "If you don't have my number, you don't have enough information to have a problem with me." It's the exact same thing with critics in life. You will only get criticized by people who are doing less than you, or people who don't know you at all. No one who's doing more than you will ever criticize you. I can attest to this, whether it's financially speaking or in the gym. As in somebody who's put in 10 plus years of work, or someone who's put in years in entrepreneurship, you know how much fucking work is involved to do something like a transformation, to do something like 10 years of consistency, or years of work in an entrepreneurial venture, that when you see someone trying, you don't have the time or the fucking interest to criticize or to put down, because you know how hard that road is. And you know how much courage it takes to walk that path. So you'll be the first one to encourage them. You see this all the time with really big guys in the gym, like big as in very developed. They're the biggest sweethearts. And when you tell them, "Oh, I'm going to be this strong one day, or I'm going to, gain 20 pounds muscle," they're always encouraging the ones who are not the minority that are arrogant pricks. But they're just like, "Yeah, no, of course you can," because they know it's possible. Because they know anything is possible. That quote from Walt Disney, "All dreams can come true if you have the courage to pursue them." They know that so long as you put in the work, of course it's possible, right? Of course it is. And they, like me, I can speak for myself, they love to see people with the courage to pursue. It's awesome because it's so rare. So I like that. And then we can move on. You will create an aura around you that will instill respect, even fear. And they're in tandem, fear and respect. And I've learned that from having that feeling towards others and eliciting that emotion within others. And it's actually a really cool place to be in, because I don't want to say in terms of submission from people, but if people don't fear you, then it's very hard to respect you. And you notice this in the workplace. It's the easiest place to find. You notice this in relationships. You notice it all the time. If there's no realm of fear, then there's not the same degree of respect. And if I think I checked my analytics, I don't think any women watch this, but you see this if you're a guy who has a woman in your relationship, if she doesn't fear you in the slightest, then her respect of you isn't exalted. As in, she has to know that you're that man in the arena, that you're actually about it. And so that's another good benchmark or audit to consider. Why don't people respect me? They don't fear you. Why don't they fear you? Because I'm not that guy. Why am I not that guy? Because I haven't been consistent with my fucking word and my actions. Because then they would see it. They would see how much passion I put into my training. They would see how much effort I put into my business or into my consistencies, into my relationships. They see that when I speak with conviction, with certainty. That elicits that aura of respect, of fear, because they know that you're a man who means what he fucking says. So if you find yourself with the omission of that from others, again, a good opportunity to look at yourself in the mirror and say, it's the homework assignment that I gave from the last book. What do I want? Do I want respect? What have I done, right? My actions, my habits that have gotten me to the results that I have now, i.e. perhaps friends or romantic suitors who don't respect me. What do I need to do? What habits do I need to cultivate to earn or elicit that which I seek? The greatest way to earn respect from other people and the fastest way is to simply not tolerate disrespect. Because that's another reason why people won't fear you. Is because when somebody, say, take a man, because I have to deal with this shit at work, thinks they can get away with disrespecting you, the second you stand up to one of those fucking pussies, you can, and I literally had this interaction today. They're like a coward is such an understatement. Like a dog with his fucking tail between his legs when they come up to you, man to man, one-on-one, in the absence of a crowd. You see how quickly they fucking cower when you set the precedent that you call a chihuahua's bark out as you have no bite. And weak, insecure, shitty men, they will, in the form of public disrespect, test you to see what disrespect you'll tolerate. And if you can, in the book Make Your Bed by Admiral William McRaven, he says, stand up to the bullies. If you do it once, you never have to do it again. If you fight back once, you set the precedent that, no, this isn't okay. But if you tolerate it, then you're conditioning the behavior. Then you're teaching that fucking idiot that it's okay to disrespect you, and even in a public forum. Do you understand? So if you want to earn the respect from your peers, if that's one of your goals, and you're noticing people aren't respecting you, they aren't obeying your word, they aren't fearful of you, ask yourself, am I tolerating disrespect? And for me, I'm a very agreeable person, particularly in the workplace. So I wouldn't deem it as important. It's just, one of those no worries things. But it is a worry thing. Is then I'm setting the fucking tone that I'm someone who can be disrespected. And I had this insight like a month or two ago where I would be having a conversation with someone and somebody would come in and then interrupt my conversation, and then I would just be standing there waiting for them to finish. That was me over time conditioning that behavior that shit was okay. And so now, if that ever happens, then I don't stand idle. I say, let me excuse myself. Let me acknowledge my existence, have self-respect, and leave the fucking conversation. Or talk to the person and invite them in to the conversation that I'm having. That comes from setting the tone, setting the precedent of respect. So, and this all ties into your reputation. Who are you? What precedents are you setting, right? Whether you're oblivious to them, hopefully now you become more cognizant of them, right? All really good food for thought. Your word, number one, being impeccable with it. So you will create an aura around you that will instill respect, even fear. It starts with you being consistent with your word. If you can't even trust your word, how the fuck is anyone else going to? Next. Honesty and integrity attached to your name and your business. Dire. So that was the first thing that I thought of when it said so much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. When you are an entrepreneur, when you have a business, your entire fucking brand is predicated on the integrity of your word, of you. I learned this from one of the sharks in the show Shark Tank, the Canadian who sits on the far left. I forget his name right now, but he said that. He said, what is the first thing you're selling in a business? It's not your product or your service. It's you. People buy into you. They don't give a fuck majority of the time about the product. It has to be decent. It has to not be a super shitty product. But people will support people who they trust, who they respect. And then if that product is lackluster or less than amazing, they will still go out of their way to support you because they believe in you. They believe in you will improve it. You will, have customer satisfaction as a priority. And that was exactly what I had to enact and to live out when I was doing entrepreneurship. For example, selling pre-workouts. As in, if an order was delayed for whatever reason, I would typically give them a free bottle of pre-workout. If the order didn't arrive, it was like a refunded order and free product. This is my name. I need to develop that reputation that I am trustworthy, that I have honor, that I have integrity. And when you do that, that's how you develop long-lasting customers, where you develop those raving fans, where anytime you were to launch a new product or a new service, people know that they're going to get value from you. And so they're like, if I spend $100 with you and I get $1,000 of a return, and then you tell them that I've come out with this $200 product, you'll instill the idea that, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a $2,000 return for this. Fuck yes, I'll purchase. That is the importance of a good and honorable, credible reputation. If you make it a precedent that you don't give a fuck about your customers, you'll find out very quickly that I learned this from Simon Sinek, Start With Why. If you just focus on the what, as in your product, and not your why, you'll have to do all these manipulations in the form of a buy one, get one free, or a sale, or I had to do buy two, get one frees, and then the why gets fuzzy. And then you have to do all these fucking schemes to generate a sale. And then you'll find out you won't get great sales from returning customers. You'll constantly have to find new ones to run a sale on, to run a fucking scheme, a gimmick on, in order to keep going. That's not a formula for long-term success within a business. What is laying a brick beautifully, brick by brick, founded on your word, character, integrity. Here, if there's any problem, it's the urgency of resolving that problem, of going above and beyond of customer satisfaction, of over-delivering. Whenever I would send out a product, dude, there would be a handwritten letter in there, there would be an extra gift in there, and then, like I said, a lot of times there'd be a second thing for free in there. I didn't make a lot of profit. I didn't make any profit in terms of running the business, but I loved it in terms of it being reflective of who I am. As in, if my name is attached to it, you can expect his best effort. You can expect him to be true with his word. So I love that, because when all is said and done, when the smoke fucking clears, all that matters is your name. And from trust, from respect, nothing else fucking matters. Nobody gives a fuck about your materialistic possessions that you acquire over your lifetime. People know whether you're a man of honor or not. And at the end of the day, I learned this from, I don't remember who, but the quality of your life, could have been Tony Robbins, is contingent on the quality of your relationships. What is that from, right? It comes from you being such a giver to others. Give and it shall be given unto you, right? That sentiment. Next. So if you have a business, or if you're trying to develop your reputation, take pride in prioritizing the needs of others and surpassing their expectations. And you will solidify that foundation of trust, particularly if you're brand new. Because think about it. If someone, say you're going into the supplement, the health industry, you're competing with existing companies who have already developed a brand, who have already developed a following, a reputation, right? And so even if their product isn't the best, even if it's an inferior product, you're combating obscurity when you first begin. Because to the everyday customer, why should I trust you? That's the bridge you're trying to gap. So you do that from your delivery, Here's expectations, exceeding them. The formula that we talked about in the last book, The Psychology of Money, that is happiness. Results minus expectations. So if your customers are expecting, a week delivery, it's getting it to them next fucking day. If they're expecting, this in terms of the value for their money, you deliver this value without them asking, without expecting anything in return. That is how you'll develop that reputation of above and beyond, of customer service, of honor, character, merit, integrity. If you do that for a lifetime, there's a quote by Andrew Tate. He said, if you just do the basic shit, eye contact, firm handshake, you don't fucking snake anybody, you're a man of his word, he said, you will go very far in life and success and business and relationships with women, etc. Prioritize that, man. Become a made man. That's the point of this university. I love the quote, life is not about what you get, it's about who you become and what you're able to give now that you've become more. I love the man I get to become in the development of this beautiful quest, right? In the pursuit of this noble quest, in the development of this university. I get to become a man I'm proud of, my villain, right? Which is just who you are when you close the app of who you are and the potential of who you can be. So it comes from character and integrity because people can see that, man. They can see through the fucking camera. They can see if I'm really about it or if I'm just talking out my fucking ass, right? They know if I'm meaning what I say. Consistency with my word and my actions. It's all character and integrity is who you are when no one's watching. Are you the same person when the camera's off, right? Food for thought. Next. I love this next one. Associate with someone whose image is stellar. A class act only. The standard. And your character will be known as her reflection. I was thinking about it in the context of my woman. Or hers as a reflection of your own. You have to understand that. Your friends are a reflection of you. Your woman is a reflection of you. So if you're choosing to surround yourself like I did in the past, with losers, with degenerates, with fucking idiots, with drug addicts, with alcoholics, you're advertising to the world, this is my standard, right? This is who I am. These are my associates. Do you understand? Is this quality, this caliber. People whose word means fucking nothing. People who don't pick up trash off the floor, they throw trash on the floor. Those were the fucking people I was surrounding myself with. These cucks to their women. I felt like a fucking hypocrite when I would be associated with these people. But because I want to think about this, not that because I was so benevolent to have these people in my life, but because I never saw them as bad people, it wasn't something that I considered the direness to remove them from my life. Because just because they were this in this category, I was like, no, it's okay. I can compartmentalize it. Just because this person has fucking idiot friends, it's not going to affect me in any way. I didn't understand the sentiment, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're surrounded by beta cuck men, right, who have set up the frame in the relationship where they're submitting to their woman in every regard, where they've never laid down the fucking law, ever. When the person who's paying all the bills, right, who's providing for the entire family, who's not even the king of his own castle, we go to the gym together, I got to be home. I always felt like a hypocrite being surrounded by these fucking cucks, because I would ask myself, how do you consider yourself a man? It just blew my fucking mind. The same idea of people that I would surround myself with, the drug addicts and alcoholics, who would be friends with these fucking acne-ridden kids who would just be playing video games all day and drinking and doing drugs. They weren't my friends, but they were friends of my friends. And so that was my level of associates, in terms of associate with someone whose image is stellar, a class act. I was surrounded by people who weren't terrible, but they were, whether it was with their own integrity or lack thereof, or their associates. And so the transition that I made in 2024 was, I can no longer be selfish with the people who I allow within my life. And what I mean by that is, if I'm the sum of the 5 people I spend the most time with, then these people will lower me to here, and therefore this is what I'm able to give the people who I say I love, as in friends, family, my woman to come, right? My future kids. And so very fucking selfish of me to not curate my reality, to not tell these people who are bringing me down mentally, physically, financially, relationally, to get the fuck out of my life. Because in their absence, I would be here. Because I wouldn't be surrounding myself with these less than stellar, less than integrable men or women or children. So by me becoming more now, I can then therefore give more to the people who I say I love and care about. So it's actually the most selfless act you can do to cut the fucking weeds out of your life in the form of negativity, toxicity, excuses, belittlement, people's projection or limiting beliefs, their insecurities, their fears. The best thing you can do because you love them, because you want to give more of yourself to others, including them down the road, is tell them to go fuck off. Or if you don't say that, you do it within your actions. As in, I made that clear. No, you don't have access to me anymore. You're the fuck out of my life. Because I'm taking it so seriously, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Because I'm taking it to heart, associate with someone whose image is stellar, right? I'm no longer going to tolerate being a fucking hypocrite by saying, to be consistent with your man, with your word, as a man, with your word, with your character, with your integrity, and be surrounded by these motherfuckers who don't have a shred of honor, of character, of merit, of integrity, of work ethic, who half-ass their effort in the fucking gym in front of me, who are these cucks in the workplace or to their woman. I said, get the fuck out of my life. This is, by me allowing you to be in my life, that's me setting the precedent that that's okay. And it's not. And so I'm no longer that hypocrite within my reality that I've curated, because I don't tolerate that shit. And I've felt like that for the longest time. Again, the idea of playing a character that I've had so much despise for. I'm not a man who does these actions, and I've always been that way, but now I'm not a man who tolerates that from anyone in my fucking vicinity. Even in the workplace, any words that I have forbidden, such as TIRED, I don't allow it from people who speak to me. Anytime they say that word to me, I correct them. I'm the T word. You mean you're indefatigable? Sorry, I didn't hear you the first time. It's almost like a running joke, but they correct their fucking vernacular in front of me because they know that that's my standard. And if you can set that precedent for others, they will conform and follow your level, your standard, your etiquette. Like a fucking thermostat that you set. They'll warm up, cool down to reach your level. It's by your standard. It's by what you tolerate. Your actions, your word within yourself and within others, right? You are that leader. Especially if you're a man watching this. They're looking to you to lead. I love this university the most because it's things that I need to tell myself. Next, demonstrate confidence in who you are as a man by always keeping your word, speaking the truth, and speaking with conviction, i.e. your truth. If this lecture hasn't been evident of that, I don't know what will. You influence by certainty. These were my notes. They believe you believe in it. So in time, they will believe in it, but most importantly, in you. That's the importance of, I learned this from Ed Milet. You don't influence people by them believing what you're saying. It's by them believing you believe what you're saying. And that's through your certainty. That's through your eye contact. That's through your conviction with your fucking words. That's when somebody looks at you and they're like, I believe he believes what he's saying. It's that level of certainty that influences the room. And you know this if you've ever had a conversation with someone where they say, oh, this is the fact, but you know, no, this is. And then they have that moment of like hesitation and, self-consciousness, uncertainty. Because certainty is what influences. Who is the most certain? That's who influences any relationship, any discussion. The most amount of certainty. So people, when they're looking for someone to lead, they're looking for someone who has the highest degree of certainty in the room, particularly amidst the unknown. Food for thought. But I put that. Influenced by certainty, they believe you believe in it, so in time they will believe in it. But most importantly, they'll believe in you. Men don't follow titles, they follow courage, right? They follow someone who, when they go into the storm, it's a good quote from the Count of Monte Cristo. You look into that storm and shout, do your worst, for I will do mine. It's predicated on who you are as a man, right? The one who's at the vanguard, right? The one who has that honor, has that integrity, has that character, that merit, right? That has that courage. That's what people follow. That's what inspires hope within others. Cowardice is contagious, but so is courage. If you were that man in the arena, people will follow you, people will look to lead. So if you in the omission of respect or of a following, or of people who are looking at you with any lens of admiration, ask yourself why. And typically it's in the promises unkept by you, the lack of discipline, the lack of consistency with your word and your actions. It's not the fault of them. It's the standard that you've chosen to not tolerate for yourself. Ensure wherever you go, you are preceded by an impeccable reputation. I love that quote. You see it sometimes in movies. I saw it in the Mission Impossible movie. Your reputation precedes you, or his reputation precedes. I love that. As in, if you have that air of, no, this is a man who says the truth, which is what I want my name fucking synonymous with, is, if not the truth, my truth. But in reality, my truth is consistency, principle, and truth. That's it. Not fucking trends, not fads, not bullshit. That's how I know over a long enough time horizon, these videos, people will crave the authenticity behind it. As the world gets more and more fake and more bullshit, people are going to crave true leadership, which is character and integrity when no one's watching, when the camera's fucking off. That's what people are going to crave in a world full of get rich quick, bullshit. When you log on, when you open up Instagram and you see these fucking clowns, so many people are, I know in their hearts, because I know I am, they're so sick of all the garbage, of acting like a clown, of doing these stupid fucking TikTok dances, right? People are craving real honesty, truth, fucking leadership, masculinity. That's what people are craving in this world. So you can be that guy. You can have that kind of reputation that precedes you. To finish, here we go. Be the master of your reputation. Take pride in your appearance, your word, and your character and integrity. Be the right man when no one's watching. If you do, you'll be that man when everyone's watching. So that's law number 5. So much depends on your reputation. Guard it with your life. I write my notes in here. And that is law number 5 of the 48 Laws of Power. I hope you enjoyed. We're all going to make it. This is Rat Life University. We're going to go one by one. Only 43 to go. And with that, Rat Life is what? It starts with belief and the courage to pursue. If you think about your reputation as who you are when no one's watching, which is all character and integrity is. I learned this from Greg Plitt, who has to have been the biggest influence on me, being raised by a single mother since the age of 10. A mother who raised 5 kids by herself. I was never taught these traits, these virtues of what it means to be a man. So when we talk about reputation, which it's founded on the premise of eliciting respect. Respect is earned, not a given. Not by some bullshit made up fucking title in a building that doesn't mean shit the moment you walk outside. What solidifies respect from others is consistency with your word and your actions. Do you understand? It's when people know you would never ask someone else to do something that you wouldn't yourself do. It's people who know that what you say is. If your fucking name is attached to something, it's as good as golden. Whether it's a project, consider it done. Whether it's a promise, consider it kept, right? That is what your word needs to be as a man. Someone who other people can look with admiration, with fear, with solidified, cemented respect because your word is fucking impeccable. do that over a long enough time horizon, what do you have, right? You have somebody who not only elicits respect from everyone else, but can look at themselves with such pride and admiration, exalted in the fucking mirror. If you can do that, imagine that level of adoration and respect that your woman looks at you with, what lens she views you with, that adoration, admiration, makes you feel like a fucking king, like a god or a man amongst men. With that level of love and belief instilled into you, what do you think you can accomplish, man? It starts with you. And then consider your associates, right? A reflection of you. So if you're surrounded by fucking losers, if you're surrounded by drug addicts, if you're surrounded by alcoholics, by cucks, by men who don't have a fucking shred of dignity, of merit, of character, of integrity, ask yourself, why are these my surroundings? Where's my fucking standard? Do I have one? What kind of man do I want to be? Maybe I need to take an audit, take inventory of who I'm allowing into my life. As hard as it is to let them go, to tell them to fuck off, you need to view it, at least I'm speaking for myself personally, as not my ability to do that audit, but my responsibility to. Because I know I'm the sum of the 5 people that I spend the most time with. So by me choosing to surround myself with these fucking idiots, these losers, these decrepit drug addicts and alcoholics and fucking beta cuck males, that's me choosing to not become more. Choosing to give less to the people that I say I love and care about. How fucking selfish. How can I look at myself with a sense of pride, dignity, honor, respect, character, integrity? If this is what I'm choosing to fucking tolerate, this is my standard. Fuck no. With that, that's law number 5. We're all gonna make it as Rat Life University. Stay tuned for law number 6 coming later this week.